Check, 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 check. Wagwan, everybody. I am your Jamaican Queen, Miss Y. You are tuned into How I See It TV, and this is Accurate Context. Before I get into this video, please remember to like the video, share the link to my channel if you feel like my content needs some more crowd, subscribe if you haven't done so yet, follow me on Instagram and Twitter now called X at How I See It, and on TikTok at How I See It TV. I'm so happy once again to know that I am not the only night owl. Why do we say that? Night owl. I mean, but anyways, y'all know what I mean. So welcome everybody to this live. I was thinking I'm gonna be in here reading this information to myself, and then I'll have to catch y'all in the comments during the replay. But I'm so happy that some of y'all are here right now. So I don't know if y'all missed it. I know a lot of you don't go over there to Destiny's YouTube to check out her messy, I call it messy mental health Mondays, but I did, and there was a couple of things that I caught, and I did a live earlier this week discussing that. But one thing that I didn't talk about because I was saving it for this Accurate Context episode is Miss Dion. Miss Dion, Destiny's life coach, therapist, girlfriend, I don't know what to call her, enabler, clout chaser, I don't know what to call her, but Miss Dion said during that live that Destiny and Melody were trauma bonded. And y'all, that had me clutching my pearls. Because even though I am not a psychologist, I am not a trained or licensed therapist, I do know the definition of trauma bonding. I've had conversations with a therapist. Let me not put, 20 on 20 on a 5. I've had conversations with a therapist who said essentially gave me a breakdown of what trauma bonding is and what it is not. So for someone who claims to be a licensed therapist and a life coach, for them to be sensationalizing that word and using it out of context and using it incorrectly, I had to clutch my pearls. And I had to go back to some research that I did several months ago when I explained in another Accurate Context video why fans are not trauma bonding with Melody based on the definition of the word and based on references from psychological papers, articles, books, research, all of that. Because one thing I'm going to do when it comes to Accurate Context episode is cite my sources. So let's get into what we found. Well, what I found. And we're going to discuss together. Give me a second. Let me pull up my chair. Okay, I am back. Thank you for staying. Right, I gotta open up my research. And here's my disclaimer. I am not a therapist. Um, in some of my in my degree program, I did have to do a course called what was the name of the course? One second, y'all. I'm trying to pull up this research. Um, what was I saying? Oh, I did in one of my I've shared this several times that I started my degree, well, I was 2 years in to my degree in youth development work. I need to go back and finish it up, honestly. But life just be life and sometimes. So I started that degree program, and that program is very sociology heavy and very psychology heavy. And one of the courses that I did was obviously, introduction to psychology, and then behavioral and abnormal psychology, and another course that's under the psychology banner. And as I said, several sociology courses. So I feel like I have the range. Not to give therapy, but to explain some of the terminologies. So that's what we're doing here. All right, so let's talk. All right, so in the words of Dion, Destiny and Melody, they were trauma bonding. So what I wanted to find was when two friends who are going through a divorce around the same time begin leaning on each other for support, and they're sharing their hurt, is that trauma bonding? So here's the definition, y'all. Trauma bonding refers to the strong emotional connection between two individuals who share a traumatic experience, often characterized by feelings of intense loyalty, commitment, and emotional reliance. And this is according to J.L. Herman in his 1997 book, Trauma and Recovery, Basic Books. Okay. While two friends going through a divorce may share emotional support and validation, it doesn't constitute trauma bonding. Do I need to read that again? While two friends going through a divorce may share emotional support and validation, this does not constitute trauma bonding. And this is according to psychologists who's been practicing before Dion. I'm just saying. Let's continue. Now, here is why it does not constitute trauma bonding. Okay. One, a lack of shared trauma. Okay. Divorce is a personal, individual experience, not a shared traumatic event. Again, divorce is a personal, individual experience, not a shared traumatic event. Each friend's experience is unique and they are not collectively facing a traumatic situation. In other words, what Melody was going through in her divorce was way different than what Destiny was experiencing in her divorce. So they were not sharing in a similar trauma, which has to be present for it to be called trauma bonding. Number two, support versus dependence. Friends offering emotional support does not create dependence, or they say necessarily create dependence. Healthy friendships involve mutual support, whereas trauma bonding often involves an unhealthy, excessive reliance on each other. And this is according to, let me pull up the book. This is according to L.E.A. Walker in the 2013 book, The Battered Woman Syndrome. Again, these are therapists and psychologists and academics who are saying this, not I. I'm just reading the research. 3, emotional intimacy versus enmeshment. Sharing hurt and emotional vulnerability can deepen friendship intimacy. However, trauma bonding often involves enmeshment, where boundaries blur and identities become overly intertwined. So I would like for Dion, who is putting it out there that Melody and Destiny were trauma bonding, I would like for Dion, the professional in the room, to show us where any level of enmeshment took place on Melody's part. Because I don't know what Destiny has been saying in her sessions with Dion. So maybe in Dion's mind, there was a little bit of enmeshment on Destiny's part. However, I would like for her to explain to us how she knows that there was enmeshment on Melody's part. Show us where the two identities, Melody's and Destiny's identities, became overly intertwined throughout the period of their friendship, where they were leaning on each other for support while they were both going through divorce at the same time. Since Dion is putting it out there that they were trauma bonded, inquiring minds would like to know. And this is according to J.L. Ehrman, once again, in the book, Trauma and Recovery, Basic Books, written in 1997. Now, guess what? When I was in college doing my degree program, professors or lecturers would always tell you when you're doing your term papers that, well, my lecturers, I don't know about y'all's, but my lecturers would tell us that when we are, using references, we should cite sources from at least 10 years. That's how far back we should go when it comes to citing, using different texts as part of our citations or whatever. But for this, yeah, I went a little bit further than 10 years, child. Why did this thing close? I knew I should have done this on my laptop. All right. So where were we? Mm, mm, mm. Number 4, different coping mechanisms. Friends may use each other as a healthy coping mechanism, whereas trauma bonding often involves using the relationship as a primary means of emotional regulation. And this is according to Jay Breer, treating the effects of trauma. Okay. It was written by several people actually. Oh, and also, so that information I just read, the difference in coping mechanisms, in a friend leaning on each other versus trauma bonding. Um, Jay Burr, 2006, treating the effects of trauma, stay more, and Greca, Silverman, and Wernberg. These are all educators. In their article, helping children cope with disasters. And you can find this in the American Psychological Association's journal. They talk about the difference in trauma bonding versus just friends leaning on each other. Let's continue. Okay. While friends going through divorce may share similar emotional experiences, they are not collectively facing a traumatic event. And I already explained this. Research suggests that a shared trauma, is a critical component of trauma bonding. In contrast, friends supporting each other through divorce are still experiencing separate personal traumas. Okay. And you can find this information in The Compulsion to Repeat the Trauma, Reenactment, Revictimization, and Masochism, in the Psychiatric Clinics of North America's Journal, the 12th edition. And this information is on pages 389 to 411, because we cite our sources over here. We don't just be talking out the side of our necks. Okay. All right. Support versus dependence. Healthy friendships involve mutual support, which is distinct from the excessive dependence seen in trauma bonding. Research indicates that healthy social support can mitigate stress and promote resilience. Okay? And this is according to a 2015 social and personality psychology compass article, the 9th edition, pages 142 to 155, and the title of this journal entry by a few psychologists, 3 of them are listed on the article. The title of it is Social Relationships and Mortality, a review of the literature. And I told you where to find it. All right. So emotional intimacy versus enmeshment. Sharing emotional vulnerability can deepen friendship intimacy, as we said before, but it's distinct from the enmeshment seen in trauma bonding. And I put it out there to Miss Dion to show us where there was any level of enmeshment happening in the friendship that Destiny and Melody once had. Okay? Since we're trying to put stuff out there on people that we don't know. Research suggests that a healthy emotional intimacy involves maintaining boundaries and individual identities. In contrast, trauma bonding often involves a loss of boundaries and identity diffusion. Seems to me that Melody put clear boundaries up. And when that was not respected, she walked away from the friendship. So, how is that trauma bonding, Dion? You're the professional in the room. I'm trying to understand. I'm trying to understand. Now, why would someone refer to friends leaning on each other through their individual divorce as trauma bonding? Why would somebody do that? Because some people might refer to this circumstance for the following as trauma bonding for the following reasons. Misunderstanding of the term. And I see that so often when it comes to the Love and Marriage Huntsville sector. Every time a fan comes out and supports Melody, it's, oh my God, the millimeters are trauma bonding with Melody. And I'm like, y'all sound so stupid because that's not even what's happening at Harris. So clearly they're misunderstanding the term, right? They might not fully understand the concept of trauma bonding, which specifically refers to the strong emotional connection formed between individuals who share a traumatic experience. Going through similar things, going through similar things separately is not trauma bonding. Let's be clear. Emotional intensity. Friends supporting each other through divorce can experience intense emotions, which might be mistaken for the emotional intensity characteristics of trauma bonding. The close supportive relationship between friends might be mislabeled as trauma bonding due to its emotional depth and reliance. Simplification or sensationalism. Using the term trauma bonding might be a way to simplify or sensationalize the friend's experience, even if it does not accurately capture the dynamics. Lack of alternative terminology. People might use trauma bonding, quote unquote, trauma bonding, due to a lack of alternative terms to describe the strong emotional connection and support between friends navigating difficult experiences. I'm just saying, the facts are out here. Now, what are the alternative terms that could be used to describe friends supporting each other through a difficult time? What are some of the alternative words? Mutual support alliance. This is a collaborative, supportive relationship where friends help each other navigate similar challenging experiences. A shared struggle connection. A bond formed through shared experiences and emotional support during difficult times. Dion, why weren't we using these terms? You are the therapist in the room. You are the life coach in the room. Why were we not using these terms? Emotional reciprocity, a relationship where friends exchange support, validation, and comfort. That sounds more like what was going on there, not trauma bonding. A compassionate friendship, another psychological term that could have been used. A deep, Care and connection, where friends provide empathy and understanding. Parallel processing, a phenomenon where friends navigate similar experiences simultaneously, fostering a unique, supportive dynamic. Does this not sound to y'all who are listening like that's what perhaps was happening in that friendship that Melody and Destiny had? Synchronistic support, a supportive relationship where friends coincidentally face similar challenges, allowing for empathetic understanding. Dion, why were we not throwing these phrases out there, these terminologies out there? Why was trauma bond the only term that you could have used in that messy mental health Mondays? I thought that y'all said that y'all are using that mental health Monday show as a way to use different events happening on the Love and Marriage Huntsville show to mirror real life, everyday mental health issues. So if that's the case, even though you're not providing therapy, should you not be educating, Dion? Should you not be saying, you know what, I'm not going to call it a trauma bond, but here are some other terminologies that could describe the relationship that you and Melody had, Destiny. I'm just saying. Again, and I'm saying this as, here's my disclaimer, I'm not a therapist, a psychologist, or a life coach. But I can read, I can do research, I can speak to other individuals in the same profession, people who have been practicing longer than you, Dion. And they can push me in the right direction to find the information that I need to debunk the foolishness that you're saying on that messy mental health Mondays. I'm just saying. Emotional scaffolding. This is another term, Dion, that I'm sure you learned when you went to college. I don't know, maybe not. A temporary supportive structure where friends help each other navigate difficult times. Does this not sound like what was happening in that friendship? A resilience network, a supportive connection that fosters resilience and coping during challenging experiences. Number 9, empathic resonance, a deep emotional connection where friends resonate with each other's experiences and emotions. Caring camaraderie, a supportive friendship where friends provide comfort, validation, and emotional support. So there are 10, probably more, but for the purpose of this live, these are 10 psychological terms that could have been used to describe Melody's and Destiny's friendship. And none of these terminologies include trauma bonding, mutual support alliance, shared struggle connection, compassionate friendship, emotional reciprocity, parallel processing, synchronistic support, emotional scaffolding, resilience network, empathic resonance, and caring camaraderie. Why did Dion not use any of these? This is why I say that she either out here enabling Destiny in my opinion. Or it's kind of clout chasing a little bit. And what I mean by clout chasing in this situation is Love and Marriage Huntsville is a very popular show. And the social media fandom surrounding Love and Marriage Huntsville is very, very strong on both sides. Whether you're Team Melody or Team everybody else, the support is strong. The support and the opinions are strong on either side. So on whatever side of the fence you fall on, you're about to get people talking about you. But I would think that a therapist would want people to talk about her in a way that makes her actually sound like she knows what she's talking about. Like I should go and watch that messy mental health Monday show and feel like, okay, I walked away learning something. I might not see it for Destiny, but I can see her perspective based on how the licensed therapist on the platform has explained things. But I can't do that because every time Dion speaks, I'm looking at her like, do you actually know what you're talking about, lady? Do you actually know what you're talking about? Because in the same way, she had come out to say that there is no, um, one second. Why can't I never enter this password when I'm talking? In the same way that she has said that, hi, Mishi Love, yeah, we're all up late. Oh my gosh. In the same way that after Melody had that motherless daughter conversation on TikTok with Queen Sheba, and Dion came out talking about there is no psychologist, therapist, professor who would agree, and then boom, I found several articles, several books, several studies that backed every single thing Queen Sheba and Melody were talking about on that live. So why weren't these terminologies used, Dion? Why not? Why is it that every time there's a conversation surrounding Love and Marriage Huntsville, and it comes down to talking about support, why is it that every single time the only term that can be used to describe whatever support Melody has, why is that the only term that people can use is trauma bond? So I just proved with research that whatever was taking place in the friendship between Melody and Destiny, it cannot and should not be described as a trauma bond because that's not what was happening. And by definition, them leaning on each other while they were friends and both going through a divorce, by definition, that is not what a trauma bond is. They were not in a, they were both not in a marriage with the same man at the same time, going through a divorce at the same time, experiencing infidelity, because Destiny claims there was never any infidelity in her marriage with Labberick. So they weren't going through the same type of divorce. They were not. Similar in the sense that coincidentally we're both divorcing, getting a divorce from our husbands, but that was about it. That was about it. Destiny's situation was way different from Melody, so they were not sharing in the same trauma. Hence, no trauma bond was created. So why is a licensed therapist saying this on her platform? Why is this kind of misinformation being put out there by someone who should know better? Now let's get into the Destiny and Labberick timeline as promised in my title, because we don't do clickbaits over here. Well, maybe sometimes, I don't know. Because sometimes the titles do give clickbait, but we try not to do that over here. So let's talk about the Destiny Labberick Moses timeline of it all. All right. So if y'all can pay attention to your screen. All right. So what we're looking at right here is Destiny and Labberick's wedding announcement. All right. So as you see there, Labberick Williams and Destiny Payton, the Williams royal wedding was set for September 7th, 2019. And less than a year later, they were getting a divorce. But that's not important right now. So in this wedding announcement, y'all, it was love at first sight. When we first met on December 15th, 2013, that was when she claimed that they met at a mutual friend's Christmas party. Now, I want to know who this mutual friend is. I wish that I could ask Melody, did Destiny meet Labberick at y'all's Christmas party? Because that would have been very interesting. That would be very interesting. Because what Melody said, and I don't think that she met at a Christmas party hosted by the then Holtz, because what Melody said is that she met Labberick and Destiny. Well, she met Destiny when Labberick introduced her to both Melody and Martel as his girlfriend / fiance. So I don't think they met at any event that the Holtz were hosting. Right? So they met in 2013. Well, no, yeah, 2013 on December 15th. All right. Destiny and Moses met in 2007 is when they met, when they actually met. Now, I know. Moses said in his Dustin interview that they met in 2008. But I received from solid sources that they actually met in 2007. Okay? Leave it to a man child, they're not going to remember dates. However, they met in 2007. So 2007 to 2013, that's 6 years, right? 6 years. Now, at the point in time that Destiny and Moses met, between the time they met and between the time Destiny met Labberick in 2013, Moses was married. We know this, we just did not know dates. So inquiring minds would like to know if y'all had a 15-year on again, off again relationship. You met Labberick in 2013. Well, you met Moses in 2007. Somewhere down the line, he got married. Then you met, then somewhere in the midst of that, he went to prison, as we know. And then you met Labberick in 2013. 6 years later, y'all are getting married. And then right at the time that you're getting a divorce, you're back with Moses. Back with Moses. Between 2007 to 2023, that's 15 years. So why are we not talking about the overlaps, Destiny? Since we want to put everybody else's timeline out there of when Sonny and Moses, went on their first date, when they exchanged numbers, when they got married, when was the last time you and Moses had a conversation based on when, in comparison to, well, not in comparison, versus when he and Sonny made it official. Why are we not breaking down these timelines? Because these timelines, Destiny, are way more interesting than the Sonny and Moses timeline, in my opinion. And yesterday during my live, when I said it's hard to expose the information that I have without putting Moses' business, well, not even his business, but more so his ex-wife's business out there. This is what I'm talking about. So I'm not going to say any more on this because Moses and his ex-wife, they both deserve the opportunity. Well, not even Moses. Let's be clear, not even Moses. But his ex-wife, she deserves the opportunity to tell her story in her time. Now, as much as I like me some Sonny, unfortunately, if and when Moses' ex-wife does come out to tell her story, once again, it's not going to paint Moses in the best light. It's not going to pose him in the best light at all. But we already know that he's a player. He already told us that he was cheating. When he met Destiny, he had a girl. She didn't care. So he was cheating then. And clearly he got married and he was still cheating. But Destiny ain't talking about how allegedly she knew this man was whole married. Because remember, we're talking about 15 years. In 2007, well, actually, Moses said 15 to 16 years, right? On again, off again, on again, off again. 15 to 16 years. And I'm not good at math, y'all. But when we count 2007 to 2023, when their relationship ended officially and he got married to Sonny, that's almost 16 years. That's almost 16 years, y'all. Yeah, not almost. That's 16 years. But you met your ex-husband Destiny in 2013. So y'all got married in 2019. Why are we calculating your relationship with Moses as 16 years? On again, off again. Because see, me, I'm not calculating the off. If there's an on again, off again, I'm not calculating the off. I'm going to state I met this man in 2007. We dated for a year or two, and then it ended. And then we reconnected in 2020 when I was getting a divorce, and we tried to make a relationship happen. Because when you say it like that, when you say it like that, then nobody can be out here trying to calculate y'all's timeline and what was happening during the periods that he was very much married and you were very much married. So if we're going to try to put people's timeline out there, Destiny, just remember that there are other people outside of Sunny. There are other people outside of Sunny who wants to put timelines out there because everybody is trying to get a piece of this love and marriage Huntsville thing. Let's be clear. There are a lot of people out here who's trying to get a piece of this love and marriage Huntsville clout. And it's sad in some aspects. It's very messy in other aspects, but it's really juicy tea too. And people don't mind sliding into content creators' DMs, giving them concrete proof of things, or giving content creators enough information where they can go and run their own checks and validate certain things. And there are people who are willing to give accurate information, however, off the record. But by the time they are done spilling things, it's hard to say that they are telling lies. It's hard to say that they're telling lies because there's ways to validate information. Where people are like, okay, if you don't believe me, go check over here and you're going to see XYZ, and go check over there and you're going to see XYZ. So really, Sunny can sit back and not say another thing. Sunny can sit back and not defend her relationship ever again if she doesn't want to. Because there are people out here who have other timelines who want to expose things. My qualm is if you don't want to go on the record, then I'm not going to present the information that you're giving. Because when I say certain things, I don't want anybody to say that, oh, that's a lie. Where did you get that information from? If you say off the record, it's going to stay off the record, which means I'm not going to even report it. Because some of these reality TV stars, child, they are playing reality TV games, but there are still people out here who are hurting still, or maybe not even hurting, but they just feel like that's rich. That's rich that she's over here on her high horse talking about some timelines. and wanting to expose Sunny for being, well, in Destiny's words, she feels like Sunny was a side chick. But some of these people who know certain things, they feel like, Destiny, that's rich. I know you're not trying to talk about anybody being a side piece. And that's what, and I'm just saying this, y'all, because hi, hi, Scorpio Miss. And I'm just saying this, y'all, because this is what social media has been saying anyways for a long time. This is what YouTubers have been saying. So it's not like I'm repeating whatever tea that was, that came across my decks. I'm just reiterating based on information I received, some of what has already been placed out here about Destiny's timeline. That is really, really rich. That you out here trying to make it appear that Sunny was a side chick in your relationship with Moses when y'all were done. You and Moses were done. And if the narrative is, if I'm not somebody's friend anymore, then girl code does not exist, then Sunny didn't do anything wrong. And the reason why I continue to say this is because it seems as if, because these women on Love and Marriage Huntsville, they don't see it for Melody, girl code does not exist for Melody. Because they have some resentment, some envy, some dislike for Melody, when it comes to her, there is no girl code. So Tisha, Kimmy, Destiny, Stormy, y'all have all set the standard. Maybe unconsciously. And see, this is what happens when you do messy-ish to people. Because you unconsciously set a standard. So the standard that they have unconsciously set is, if we are not rocking with somebody, then there's no girl code. So if that is the standard, then if Sunny is telling y'all that she wasn't really effing with Destiny like that, and she didn't really consider Destiny to be her friend, then based on the standard that Tisha, Kimmy, Stormy, and Destiny has set when it comes to Melody, then Sunny has done nothing wrong based on that standard. Yes, I get it, optics and how we move, right? How we move, y'all, is different. If we not cool with somebody, we not gonna be out here dating their ex. That's how we move. Because our girl code is different. But these women on this show, they have a different standard for girl code. Because the way they treat Melody is that we're not really cool with you, we're not really aligned with you, we're just here filming a show with you, and that's the only time we kick it with you. So we're not going to show honor in terms of girl code when it comes to you, Melody. Which is why both Destiny and Stormy know that Tish was up in Melody's house, potentially during a period in time when he wasn't even divorced yet, when he wasn't allowing Melody to get her furniture, had Tish sitting up on Melody's furniture in her house. And both Kimmy, Tisha, Stormy, and Destiny, they have this information. And they still have Melody breaking bread with Tish. Now, yes, mark you, Melody has been long divorced. She don't really give a F about what Martell has going on, but it's the principle of girl code, which makes it nasty work that they all have this information and they all have Melody kiki keying with Tish on the show, and they have not yet told her. Well, I guess when the girls trip comes back, when the girls trip comes back in November, that's when that's gonna be revealed. But girl code, the standard that they claim that they have for girl code, if they were rocking with Melody, they would have told her already. So I think Destiny should stop with the, oh, these are my receipts and this is the timeline. Because a timeline didn't matter to you when this man was in a whole relationship when y'all met and was in a whole marriage before he went off to prison. And you were still very much in the picture, still, allegedly. So, talk about your timeline, Destiny. Go on your mental Mondays and talk about that timeline. Talk about why you still felt it important to maintain a friendship with an ex who was married and while he was away, why you continue to maintain that close relationship to the point where you were sending Labberick's picture to this man. Make it make sense. Because y'all, when I got married, I wasn't talking to any of my exes anymore. But yet, when I got in a serious relationship with my husband, I was not talking to any of my exes. Because you are an ex for a reason. Now, I cannot imagine caring about anything any of my exes think, to the point where if they did reach out to me and I chose to respond, and I said to them, yeah, I'm engaged now. I don't think that I would care enough about their opinions to the point where if they said, oh, send me a picture of your dude, that I would go into my phone and send a picture of my fiance to any of my exes. Y'all picking up what I'm putting down. Somebody need to ask Destiny, why was she out here sending Labberick's picture to Moses? If they had nothing going on, why was Moses' opinion of Labberick that important that she needed to send a picture of him for Moses to see who she was about to marry? Somebody make that make sense for me, child. Make that make sense. And another thing, I'm sure that we are all women in this live right now. And we all know that if we sit up in somebody's face and say to them, I could have had your man if I wanted to. We all know that we would be puffing our chests saying that because that man probably mentioned something to us, probably sent an inappropriate text message, probably said something inappropriate, probably came on to us in a certain way that we had to shut it down. And so when your friend or an associate or somebody comes around and they're like, "Are you messing with my man?" And you're like, "Girl, I would never." But let's be clear. If I wanted him, I could have had him. It's because that man said some ish to you to make you feel that way. That's never said on some That's never said on some, I just feel like I'm that girl. And if I came on to your man has never said or done anything to make me feel like he wanted me. However, because I know I'm that girl, if I put the move on him, I know I could have had him. Like, that's never said like that. It's always because the man is out here doing some ish to make another woman feel like, yeah, she can have him if she wants. So, Destiny, are you admitting then that Martel has come on to you, has said some inappropriate things to you, has suggested that y'all date or, I don't know, be intimate? And that is why you can puff your chest up and say you could have had him if you wanted to? And are you saying that Melody has sent you a text message, had conversations with you, has come on to you for you to feel like if you were on that type of time, you could have had her? Because if none of this happened, then I don't know what we're talking about in terms of you saying that you could have had both Melody and Martell if you wanted to. And you got the dummies over on the other side who are literally running with that. Now, one thing about Melody, she'll have a receipt, child. Destiny, where are your receipts? Because you sat on Messy Mental Mondays and said, "Oh, people always say, where's the receipts? Where there's receipts? I don't have the receipts for X, Y, Z." So then why are you repeating it? If you don't have the receipts, why are you saying certain things? Because me, I like to see black and white. So if neither Martell nor Melody has ever had any conversations with you down the lines of wanting to be intimate with you, then how do you know for a fact, and you are standing on it and repeating it over and over again, that you could have had both these people if you wanted to? Now, if I was Martell, honestly, as your so-called brother and as your so-called friend, I would feel some type of way that you out here saying this because, girl, how could you have me? Is Martell about to sit up? I don't know if he's going to be at the reunion or not, but is he about to sit up on the reunion and co-sign this mess? Like, yeah, she could have had me if she wanted. You definitely need to explain how she could have had you. Because as for Melody and where Melody stands, Destiny, you could never. So as I said, Sunny ain't ever have to do another live. She ain't never have to drop another receipt defending her timeline. Because Destiny, there are people out here who want to expose some other timelines of yours. And what is sad about this whole Destiny situation, y'all, is that she comes out swinging at people without facts, only to be aired out with actual receipts. It's like, girl, at the least, if you are going to be talking so loud and strong from your chest, have some legitimate receipts, have some legitimate evidence. Don't just be out here saying whatever. Because there's always going to be somebody waiting in the wings, wanting to have a moment, who is always going to be willing to expose you. And you feel like the people who are out here wanting to expose you is Melody and Sunny, but it's not, girl. And that's why my mama always said to me that be careful of who you step on your way to the top, because on your way down, those are the same people you're going to pass. So the same people who you offended while you were messing around with Moses could potentially be the same people who are out here wanting to expose your other timeline. And these people, they're not connected to Love and Marriage Huntsville, but they are watching because obviously Moses is now a part of the show and they want to hear what he has to say. But luckily for him, he's not out here disrespecting anybody who he might have hurt in any relationship that he was in. He's admitting he was not a good guy in a lot of these relationships. He was doing what most men do. But girl, when you trying to talk about some side chick this and side chick that and wanting to read messages and give timelines and stuff like that, and these people are watching the show and they're looking at you like, I know this girl not on her high horse trying to call anybody out about being a side chick. Let me get in some bloggers' DMs and give them the heads up about some stuff. That's what's happening out here. And I'm sure plenty other content creators can say that perhaps some of the same things that I received, they also received. But they are probably just like me, waiting for certain people in the situation to come out publicly to share their own story. Especially when things aren't coming directly from, those people. You want to give them, in good conscience, you want to give them the opportunity to come out and tell their own story. I'm not a part of the let me break this story culture. I'm not, because I'm not trying to be stupid. Nothing. It's the power of the pause. Shout out to Queen Sheba. So yeah, Destiny. Worry about some other timelines, girl. Worry about the things that you got going on with Labberick and that case. Worry about Madani. Worry about your what? What does she have? The body spray, house mist, whatever it's called. Worry about that. Feel like you should go to the reunion and just say, I don't care. And I'm not talking about these people's timelines anymore. It's whatever it is. They're married now. Congrats to them. I'm gonna leave it alone. I think that's probably the direction that you should go. I think that's probably the direction that you should go. Because honestly, if I were Sunny and I go to that reunion, as I've told y'all before, every time Destiny says something to me, all I'm gonna say is a Labberick. Labberick, 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 Labberick. The petty in me, that's what I would do. That's what I would do. Every time she opens up her mouth, trying to come at me sideways, I'll just say, you paid Labberick yet? I'll just be like, what'd you do with that man's credit card? Because you want to be all up in my business. Give us the timeline and the reason why he served you with divorce papers 3 weeks postpartum. in your driveway? Because she can't answer those questions. She can't answer those questions. So I think Destiny is in a lose-lose situation right now. She comes at Sunny. All Sunny got to do is bring up Labberick. She comes at Melody. Honestly, all Melody got to do is bring up Labberick. Melody don't even got to answer shit. All Melody got to say is Labberick. And she's in a lose-lose situation because Destiny has played all her cards so far. And everybody else got aces up their sleeves. She's coming out with receipts that are not even the real receipts. And then you have the people over here on the other side who have full documentation of the text message exchange between you and Moses. So while for the purpose of the show, you deleted, in my opinion, the fact that you were the one reaching out to him constantly and he was ignoring you, then you forgot that this man still has the text messages too. So you played your card on the show only for Sunny to hear you out and to read the messages in full and to prove that her and Moses' first date was definitely after y'all ended things. And because the standard that y'all set in girl code is if we are not friends anymore, if I don't consider you to be my friend anymore, then girl code does not exist. Then on Sunny's side, she's saying, Destiny, you and I were not friends. We were close associates, but I don't rock with you. And because I don't rock with you, I didn't feel like it was going to be this big deal for me to date your ex. That's the standard that y'all have set over here, Destiny, where y'all don't like Melody, so girl code does not exist for Melody. Y'all not friends with Melody, so girl code does not exist for Melody. Well, Sunny's saying, I'm not friends with you, so girl code did not exist. Period. So, at the top of the live, we talked about how Dion said that Destiny and Melody were trauma bonding. And I proved with research that no trauma bond existed because Destiny and Melody did not share in the same trauma. Their divorce was an individual thing. It's just a coincidence that they were friends at the time and they both were going through a divorce individually. I shared that there are other terminologies that could be used or that should be used to describe two friends leaning on each other during a challenging period in their life. Because trauma bond is not the appropriate term to use to describe such a scenario. Then I put a highlight on Destiny Labberick and Moses' timeline of relationships, where Destiny met Moses in 2007, was dating him on and off, as she claims. He was in a relationship, then a marriage, then he was locked away for a period of time. Then Destiny claims in her wedding announcement that she met Labberick in 2013. However, she was still very close, allegedly, to Moses. Close enough to the point where when she got when she got to when it came around the time where she was engaged, she was still having conversations with Moses, sending him pictures of her fiance. Now, I don't know any woman in love. I don't know any woman who's not still messing around with their ex who'd feel comfortable enough to send their ex-boyfriend a picture of their fiance just because their ex asked them to. Her and Labberick got married in 2019, and in 2020, they were getting a divorce. And Moses was back in the picture. And then her and Moses, again, on and off, on and off. And in 2023, it finally ended, and he married Sunny. Between 2007 to 2023, that's a 16-year relationship. Houseway. Why are we counting the offs if there was actually offs? Because I'm not counting the offs. If we broke up, then we broke up. Ain't no 15-year on again, off again relationship. We were together for 2 years, it ended, and then we got back together in 2020. That's it. Because they keep interchanging things. They keep saying, oh, it was a friendship, on again, off, but there's no on again, off again friendship with an ex. And then they say, oh, it was an on again, off again relationship for 15 years. Y'all need to get y'all stories straight, is all I'm saying. Because the timeline is not adding up. It's given a lot of cheating was going on, is what it's given. So that's my recap. Thank y'all for tuning in. Replay gang, drop that in the comment section below. Let me know how you see things too. Remember to like this video, share the link to my channel if you feel like the content needs some more crowd. Subscribe if you haven't done so yet. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at How I See It, and on TikTok at How I See It TV. Until next time, y'all. Listen, if y'all are at home and y'all have work later, y'all still got time to go sleep. But if you're at work, I know you're tired. I wish I could keep you entertained until your shift is over. But I'm going to go iron, and then I'm going to sleep for an hour and then get back up and get ready for work. So until next time, y'all, walk good. Bye.